All right, and welcome back to Modern Prescription. My name is Dr. Deepak Dugar.
And I'm Dr. Jeff Toll.
And this is episode 20.
Big
20 in a row.
20.
We're taking shots
20
on
weeks
21.
in a row.
Taking shots next week.
Yeah, healthy shots.
Healthy shots. Well, today's a stressful day for everybody.
Oh, man.
Very stressful day. It's election day, and everyone's stressed. And we brought your buddy, Maria,
the breath coach.
The breath coach, Buteyko practitioner,
Yep.
a breathing coach. And we are going to take you guys through a live guided meditation today.
Yeah, so we're filming this episode a few days before the election, but we know the election is today for all you guys listening.
Yep.
So we thought it would be nice to bring on a breathwork coach. So whatever side you're on, we're not judging, but we're going to let you relax and take your mind away for a few moments.
Yeah, lose a little anxiety today. This is going to be a relaxing podcast today. You're going to have a few minutes of real, true relaxation. I will say after the Buteyko session, I felt so relaxed.
Very relaxed.
Very relaxed. So I'm super excited, guys. Stay tuned. Today we're going to talk a lot of cool stuff. Most importantly, we're going to relax you and lose some anxiety just by listening. All right, episode 20. So this is our Buteyko breathing exercise to calm us down from the anxiety of election episode.
I've been trying to get you to do some sort of breath work or meditation.
I know, so you brought her to work. You brought her to work.
I brought someone to you to make it easier.
It's like you bring your kid to work day. You're like, you brought your breathing coach to work day.
Exactly. You're welcome.
I am appreciative. I actually am very appreciative. But, today is an anxious, anxiety-driving day, right? The whole country.
Be depending on
what happens tonight.
What's happening tonight and on what side you're on, I guess.
Yes. The world's preparing, though. New York City, Beverly Hills, all shut down today and tomorrow. They're all closing down completely, barricading everything.
Are they?
Yeah, because they're just worried. Proactively. They're scared of rioting.
That's actually pretty smart.
Yeah, because starting tomorrow, Wednesday onwards.
Does that mean we can close our offices? Or
you can, but then you don't make any money. So I don't think it works like that for private practice.
But that's interesting. I
don't think you can close your office, though, because COVID is still a real thing.
Yeah, COVID's a real thing right now. It's coming back, unfortunately.
Yeah, you can't close
down. It's
coming
back.
They need you more than ever.
I think the truth is, I think we're at the beginning of an upswing probably as winter comes in, as, holidays are coming, as especially in places that are colder weather, as people can't really eat outdoors and mingle outdoors, because I think people were getting used to
outdoor lifestyle.
People were getting used to hanging out with each other, just being outside.
Yes.
And now they have to go back to being inside again.
Yeah. Do you think that's going to cause a little uptick?
I do. And that's typically why actually during flu season, and why flu season's actually in the winter is because people are indoors and they're in, closer contact and they're not outside as much. And so I definitely think that plays a role.
The second wave definitely is here and definitely started.
Yeah, I think the good news is so far because of a combination of reasons, namely that the most at-risk people are more careful than ever. Even though we're seeing many more cases, we're not seeing a huge spike in the hospitalization and death. Mm-hmm. We're seeing a small spike, but it's more so just more cases, and it's a lot of younger people.
Yeah.
After that motorcycle thing in, where was it? North Dakota, I guess, or South Dakota?
The rally.
The motorcycle rally there. There's been a huge spike in that kind of west of the Midwest area.
Right.
Mountain West.
Because everyone went back home, Yeah,
because everyone spread out back home. So there's a huge spike there, which is worrisome. But it's back and, definitely worried about it.
Yeah.
Definitely worried about it.
Testing is becoming better and better, though, quicker and quicker. Yeah. Labs seem to be getting better at turnaround times.
Yeah, so most of the labs now, have obviously the interesting thing about America is if there's a financial reason to do it, it'll happen even without government. So the government intervention could have made it happen much faster. So if the government had, decided, okay, we're going to spend X billion dollars to increase lab capacity, and they just, either made reimbursement from Medicare for the labs more, whatever. There's a lot of strategies they could have used. It probably would have happened faster, but this way, private enterprise and a lot of private labs have just like doubled, tripled, quadrupled their number of robots, numbers of machines, and now, can turn around faster. There's more rapid testing. The rapid testing is still pretty, somewhat inaccurate, false negatives, false positives. So they have to be taken with a grain of salt, but they're helpful in some situations.
Yeah.
And then I think, like I said, I think the at-risk population hopefully will continue to stay protected and indoors as much as possible.
Yeah, I think the younger generations have made it very clear they're out. They're out and about.
Yeah.
But I think it's okay. Wear a mask, be out. And I think the older population, like you said, really needs to be protected.
Yeah, I think if the younger population is out, but smart out, meaning they're only with other young people.
Yes.
And then they don't go home and see their family and grandparents.
Yeah. And if you
then they're actually kind of doing at-risk people a favor by getting it, because they cannot in the future, once they get it, they can't then be a spreader.
Right. More herd. You're creating that herd immunity that we need.
Somewhat of a herd immunity.
Yeah.
I think the idea of like purposely creating herd immunity is a little bit dangerous, especially without any idea of like, this is meaning young. But I think if, some amount of young people are getting it and not around at-risk people, they may be actually having a benefit for society.
Right. And I think that even seeing your parents and grandparents, I think it's probably okay. Just wear a mask around them if you feel uncomfortable, or get tested before, to be honest.
Wear a mask.
Yeah, just get tested.
I think, definitely wear a mask. Definitely be outside if you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Being tested is good. If you're using a rapid test to see family,
that's probably not the best.
This is not great. And so I want to reiterate that's what the White House found out. The rapid tests are much less sensitive. And so
than the classical nasal
the PCR test
swab.
is incredibly sensitive. If you have 2 copies of the virus, it amplifies it and will turn the test positive.
Got it.
The rapid test, there's no amplification process. It's just you swab, you test.
The other question that I always have is with the testing, because I get tested a frequent amount.
Yeah.
When people are testing, I'm a nose doctor, so I know exactly where the swab's going, how far they're putting it. Is it in the nasopharynx, or are they just tickling the anterior turbinate in the front? Most of these tests, they're just tickling the front of the anterior turbinate. Yeah. And it's still sensitive enough, you think?
There are some studies that look at the difference between sensitivity nasopharyngeal versus lower nares.
Yeah.
And it's something like if you call nasopharyngeal gold standard, then lower nasal passages are pretty good. It's like 86%.
Okay, so it's still pretty high.
The oropharyngeal drops down to like 70s.
Got it. So the ones where you swab your mouth.
Swab the back of the throat, mouth, cheeks.
Not as sensitive.
And I think it's probably because A, the virus is up higher, but B, you could get a sample that's just like saliva that you just swished around your mouth, for example, and thus just sampling air, you just miss it, let's say.
Right.
Whereas up there, you can't contaminate it with your own saliva or something else.
Right. Very good point. Yeah, whatever's in the nose is in the nose.
It's there.
Yeah.
And so, these are not perfect. So when we say the gold standard is the nasopharyngeal, there are people who have the virus deep in their lungs or somewhere else that will swab negative despite having it too.
Right.
And it's scary to think about. I've told stories where, I had a guy who clinically was in the hospital. His x-rays and CT scans looked like COVID, but he kept testing negative. And then eventually we did antibody testing, which was positive. And then he was getting sicker, so he got a bronchoscopy.
Yeah, and that's where you
and he eventually tested positive. So, but he was negative nasopharyngeal 4 times.
Wow.
So anyway.
Yeah, I saw it in China. They're testing 1 million people today because, or a few days ago, because they found 100 different cases of asymptomatic carriers.
This is like classic government intervention to stop something in a really organized manner, something that we haven't done a good job of in our country. So essentially what they did was
we may have the next 4 years.
I think plus minus 100 people tested positive in one of the provinces. I forget which one.
Yes.
And then they basically tested everyone in the province, 1 million people.
The Good Life China
and forced
version.
all of them to quarantine during the time.
Yes.
To find out if anyone, and basically break the transmission chain. And then, those people it'll suck for 2 weeks and then it's over. And so I think what we made the mistake of here was we had a lockdown that wasn't enough of a lockdown and it didn't come with testing to fully stop it.
Right.
Like they fully stopped it in New Zealand, like they fully stopped it in China more than once.
Yeah,
We did a 80% lockdown, which isn't enough to stop it, and just indefinitely will keep going on. Like it was
and they were county and state based. There wasn't a federal lockdown, which is different.
Right.
But that's just the rules of America. I guess it's tough. But crazy times. We'll see.
I think the last thing I was going to mention was there was this article about whether or not you can lose immunity or lose antibodies.
Oh yeah. So if you get a vaccine versus if you've had it before, either way you get antibodies. Can that go away?
Yeah. So I just tested myself last week. I may have mentioned that I still have my antibodies. So
okay, great.
I had COVID the first week of March. So I'm now like over 7 months in, still have it. But there's some reports of people losing it as fast as, first of all, not everyone has a sustained antibody response.
Right.
So some people clear the virus and will test negative on antibody tests. But we think people will probably have, obviously this is a new virus, but the other coronaviruses in the same family of viruses, people tend to be immune for somewhere between 6 months to 2 years.
6 months, 2 years.
And so what we don't know is someone who has lost their antibody response on a test. So if we test your antibodies and they're not there anymore, does that mean if you were exposed again, do you have memory cells that could start producing them really fast again? Do you still have T cells that remember? Or are you really have no immunity anymore? And that's what we really don't know. So a little bit of a scary thought. And that's some of the question is, will a vaccine cure or end the pandemic? And one question is, well, if you only are immune for 6 months, will then you basically be able to get it again next year?
Right.
So will it really end the pandemic? So will people have to get boosters every year for their whole life? All of these questions.
It sounds like the first wave of it's going to be multiple 3 series shots of boosters. That's what they were kind of describing. So that makes sense. But I think that generally speaking, I think we, at least as a culture, know how to handle it. And should there be a need for another shutdown of some type to some degree, at least we know this time it's not going to be like World War Z or we buy all the toilet paper.
I think the toilet paper is going to go again.
You think it'll go again?
Yeah.
You think people are that silly that they're going to buy toilet paper all again?
Maybe. I don't know.
I hope not. I hope we're not that ridiculous this time.
Toothpaste, toilet paper.
You know what would help people?
The wipes are still gone.
The wipes are still gone until today. Yeah, it's super hard to find wipes. But you know what will help people? Buteyko breathing.
Buteyko's very relaxing.
Buteyko breathing. Just
this
to relax
is my first,
us, calm us down.
I feel, I've never done this. I do breathwork, but I've never done this type of breathwork.
You do a heavier breathwork. You were saying.
I do more like a classic yoga breath, like a lion's breath. That's how I was taught to do it.
In through your nose, heavy exhale out of your mouth. Okay, yeah,
like a
heavy exhale.
And I was taught
very similar to yoga
from
breath.
like a yoga teacher who, Shavasana was always very relaxing to me, and I always felt great after it. And that was kind of what led me to.
You are a Hindu.
Yeah, that's funny. I've actually heard that. So anyway, I was always looking for some way to. I'm so like intense I'm competitive and intense, and my whole day is go, go, go. And I just needed a way to kind of turn it off. Yeah. And that was, I think it's been like 5 years or so now that I've been doing it pretty consistently.
Wow, that's really good.
I go, on and off of how very consistent, but pretty consistent for a few years.
But you found something to latch onto, which rebalances yourself. And it's so important. I feel like a lot of people who are struggling with anxiety, depression, sadness, whatever it is, they don't have a thing to latch onto.
Yeah, and sometimes their thing is eating potato chips, drinking.
Yes, drinking,
smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, these are terrible things to latch onto.
Getting irritable, angry, like lashing out at family, loved ones.
Yeah, they wait till Friday night to finally feel free again. That's a terrible feeling because you got to have something to latch onto that's a healthy way to rebalance yourself. And it sounds like through your breathing exercise, you found that.
And we're about to have some Buteyko.
Yeah, and we're about to learn a little bit of gentler technique. Buteyko, it sounds like. Yeah. But I'm super excited.
Yeah, let's
Maria, let's do this. All right, we are back with Maria Shapley, our Buteyko practitioner. We're going to learn what Buteyko is, and fitness and mindset coach. So we're super excited to have you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. So what is...
We got to figure out what Buteyko sounds like.
Yeah, what is Buteyko?
Oh my goodness. Buteyko, it's a series of breathing exercises designed to optimize breathing for better health.
So is it for relaxation or for health, or what is it? Is it like breath work? Is it meditation or what is it like?
It's breath work. So what it does, these exercises are designed to increase levels of CO2, carbon dioxide in the blood. That way, when you have adequate levels of CO2, it allows for more oxygen to be released into the body. So it's helping increase oxygen, and that's that's the way it works.
So medically, the concept is increased oxygenation, then your cells will perform better, more healthy mindset, things like that.
Yeah, and also it helps normalize breathing patterns. So what we don't realize is that most of us are overbreathing, which can be the cause of many health problems. So we're trying to
dive deeper into that. What is it? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah, so we want to breathe less, lighter, slower, and deeper.
Less, lighter, slower, and deeper.
So
Okay.
I've found that I've used breathwork meditation to relax, like to either before sleep or after a stressful moment to kind of like wind myself back. So there's certainly, I think, that value of slowing down and taking a nice deep breath and feeling relaxed. Is the idea of this that people are supposed to breathe like this all the time, or these are moments of? So I guess that's
This would be a way of breathing, a way of life.
Wow, the Buteyko method.
The Buteyko method, so it really emphasizes the importance of nasal breathing. So sometimes people are breathing through their mouths, they're not realizing it, or during exercise. So you really want to be conscious of breathing through your nose, mouth closed, and breathing less and lighter.
Wow. And when you say breathing through your nose, classic like yoga breath, it's in through the nostrils and then out through the mouth. Is that the same methods that you recommend?
Breathe in through the nose, out through the nose.
Okay, so everything's through the nose, breathing in and out of the nose. And so if someone has, I'm a nose surgeon, obviously, so for me, it's all about the nose. So if someone has a deviated septum or they have allergies, things like that, what happens for, I know what to do surgically, obviously, but what would you do as a coach if they feel like they can't get enough air through their nose?
I would ask them, do you have a deviated septum or what type of sleep apnea is it, or what's really going on that maybe it would need to be addressed with a surgeon. But most of the time, if it's not that, then they can address it with Buteyko.
Wow.
Because I agree. I've always been taught in breath work that I've done about exhaling through the mouth, like the big lion's breath.
Right.
Classically.
Yeah, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Yeah. But that's really interesting. So why breathe in through the nose and out through the nose?
So the nose, it acts as a filter. It warms the air. It generates something called nasal nitric oxide, which is so essential. It cleanses the blood. It redistributes red blood cells. It acts as a potent vasodilator, opening up the veins and arteries, increasing blood flow, oxygen flow. So breathing through the nose is your way to go, especially during this time too.
And why breathing out through the nose? Why is that important? Is the breath coming out just continue? It's like almost like a hygienic thing. It humidifies the nose as it's coming out, same kind of thing?
That, and it also slows down breathing, and it promotes diaphragmatic breathing, which is going to help with emotions.
Interesting. That makes sense. I mean, breathing through your mouth, obviously, you have way more ability to release so much more. Like you said, lion's breath.
Yeah.
Versus the nose, it's going to be focused straw-like breathing.
Right.
Yeah, cool. So when you coaching, so first of all, Buteyko is a technique for breathing. Is that the right way to describe this?
It's a technique. Yeah, there are specific breathing techniques for either anxiety, depression, panic attacks, sleep apnea, snoring, or to increase athletic performance. So a lot of athletes train with the Buteyko method.
Wow, while they're performing, like while they're running, while they're doing
to warm up their lungs, to use the breath holds with exercise, or just an everyday way of life to breathe better.
Wow. And what about, what are the other types? So Buteyko is one type. Are there other types that are popular?
Oh yeah, Wim Hof is another.
Wim Hof?
Yes, which I've been exploring, which is a lot of fun. That one is different. It's an oversaturation of oxygen, whereas Buteyko is increasing CO2. So it's a little bit different, the science behind it. But that's interesting. I like it.
Well, what are the other types that you've heard of or that
What
people...
else? There's pranayama. There is, which is alternate nostril breathing, which is nice. Which is interesting, breathing through the right nostril activates the sympathetic system, which is going to put you more in that fight or flight or alert, let's go.
How do you choose which nostril you use? I think I'm lucky to get it in either one.
Me too. I'm lucky to have a straight septum.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So at different points throughout the day, you'll notice one side may get more blocked than the other. So you can just do one side breathing.
Right. Yeah. And that's normal because we have in our noses the little balls called the turbinates. There's like the little humidifiers in the nose, and they actually have a cycle. So they naturally cycle and engorge and shrink every 20 to 30 minutes.
Do they?
Mm-hmm. So they naturally have a cycle that goes every about 20, 30 minutes. So sometimes you'll feel like you're stuffy on the left, and then later it'll be on the right. So it's part of the natural blood flow within the turbinates, in addition to allergies and other things that you may have, dryness. Very interesting. So take us through, so you as a breath coach, Buteyko practitioner, fitness and mindset coach, what type of clients do you have? Who are your clients, and how are you now during a pandemic even training people?
Crazy. I became certified last year through Patrick McKeown. He's one of the world's leading Buteyko experts, and it was right before COVID hit. And I said, oh my gosh, okay, so let's do this thing. Launched my business in March of 2020, and it's just been growing ever since. And the way I've been going about it is just really by reaching out and showing myself as someone I'm here to help. This helps with anxiety, depression, just to learn how to breathe right to better your life. And people have been interested. And they're like, okay, I want to take your class. Also, asthma, huge, really helps with asthma.
The Buteyko method specifically. Mm-hmm. Wow. And so right now, like everyone's listening right now, who, classically, do you tell people to analyze what their breath is? Because I feel like a lot of people just breathe through their mouth naturally. It's just what we do.
Oh my goodness. I would say, right now, become aware of how you're breathing. Are you breathing through your nose? Are you breathing through your mouth?
I was breathing through my mouth.
Oh.
I think I'm always in through the nose, out through the mouth.
You are?
Mostly.
That's because you don't like to smile. You keep your mouth closed.
Yeah, I know. I think I smile with just my mouth closed. When I smile.
Mouth closed. Yeah, you have a smirk.
Yeah, exactly, smirk. But yeah, I think this year, especially with how stressed people are, how stuck at home people are, it's an opportunity to explore all these different things about yourself, your body that you just have extra time to think about. And all of us are so focused, being stressed, watching the news and what's going on in the world, that it's an interesting time to explore all these different things. So I'm assuming people can find you on Zoom, for example. Do you find that these people are able to have then a community where they're kind of like all kind of going through the same thing together, and kind of learning how to do this breathing together, but also there's kind of a benefit of having that community too?
Oh, yeah. I just finished a program. So every month, the last several months now, I've been having my level 1 and level 2. And in the email thread, people will be like, that was a great class. Here's my information. Let's stay connected. And then I'll have a private Facebook group for people to stay connected as well. So that's really been how it's been going.
I've definitely had, obviously I've talked about this on a lot of the episodes, but, people are so isolated, especially people who either are single or, don't have a family or something, and they're living alone. And it's a very hard time to see friends, obviously, or date or whatever because of the pandemic. So, finding some type of online community for these people who are isolated is really important. And so I've encouraged that, and people are like, well, am I going to go on Zoom dates? But there are other things that people can do. I
never even thought about Zoom activities.
Yeah.
And literally never thought of that.
Yeah, there's exercise classes. And I think, it's one thing to have a trainer who's like one-on-one with you, and you can probably get trained better, let's say, one-on-one with a trainer, but there may be some other value to having community of being on a Zoom with people.
Yeah, I'll do Saturday classes, 10 a.m. I'm teaching, I combine the breath work with energizing yoga and a HIIT style training class. So Saturdays at 10 a.m. So
awesome.
Wow.
Get people sweaty.
Wow. Yeah. That's really good. And when you're doing your breath training, you said level 1, level 2. What would make someone level 2 is once they understand the concepts?
Yeah, so first go through level 1, learn all of the Buteyko breathing exercises. And level 2 is not Buteyko, it's my own program that I've incorporated the exercises with some other breathing techniques, and then go over goal setting, mindset coaching, combining it with exercise.
So what does mindset coaching mean?
Mindset coaching would be really being aware of your thoughts and how it creates motion into what you're doing with your life. So being really aware of your thoughts and how to repattern them.
So give us an example. So someone comes to you because they're doing what, and then how do you try to show them a different path?
Yeah, I guess it depends on what they're doing. So I would address, okay, you're doing X, how can we...
do you have a client story that you could share with us without using their names?
Yeah. Most of them have been about breathwork. So I've created this. So there's a triangle that I learned in Buteyko. So if you address breath, then it affects your feelings, and then that is going to affect your behavior. Just like if you have the cognitive triangle, where if you address your thoughts, it's going to create different feelings and actions. So one always...
So thoughts, feelings, action is the cognitive triangle. And what's the Buteyko one? Is
breathing, feeling, sleep, actually.
Sleep, breathing, feeling, and sleep.
See, I have my breathing before my sleep.
Before you sleep. Ah, interesting. And so
it's so important to me.
And so you actually learn from a breathwork class?
I would say probably 6 days a week, I take a steam and do breath work, but it's like lion's breath out of my mouth for probably like 15, 20 minutes. And then I'm out.
So do you feel like it's more like exertion almost, that you're exerting yourself for that?
No, it's completely melting away every thought, worry, concern I've had from the day. It's just gone, and then I can go to bed. Because I used to stay up and worry about a patient. I saw that this morning I had a guy, post-op from surgery go into a flutter with 8 to 1 block with a heart rate of 30, and the nurses are paid. Like there's 1,000 things to think about.
Wow.
Not to mention business, family, all the other stuff.
Right.
And I just couldn't turn my brain off.
Right.
And so I think a lot of people have that problem from work stress, child stress, financial stress right now, COVID stress, election stress right now, like all the things going on in the world.
Yeah.
And people can't turn it off. And I super identify with that. So that's how I got into it. And I think, when I hear the word mindset coach, like I feel like sometimes I'm not officially a mindset coach, but with my patients, I often feel like I'm trying to push them to kind of like look at the world a different way, to be less self-negative, self-defeating. A lot of people make excuses and like say, well, it's COVID right now, so I gained 15 pounds. But you could look at it the other way and say, well, it's COVID right now, I don't have to go to work. I have an extra hour that I used to lose in my commute to work out. Or whatever. And that's like that flipping of the...
Right. Well, very similar to what you just said is exactly just different wording. Deepak Chopra, my namesake, he has this great philosophy where he talks about...
The second best Deepak.
I think so. Yeah. But he probably thinks he's the best. He's pretty damn good, though. I'm really a big fan.
Yeah.
But he has this concept of placebo versus nocebo, like nocebo. And like placebo means like you're doing nothing, and usually good things happen from doing nothing, right? That's the whole concept of placebo effect, versus the nocebo effect is where you actually hurt yourself with certain thoughts and certain mindsets, and you actually cause toxic trauma to your body, your mind, your energy because of the way that you think about things. So like if a patient has a cancer diagnosis and you just talk about how we're going to beat this and what you're going to do next year and how you're going to win and what, life is going to be amazing, they usually do better, versus if you talk about 90% death rates, you literally, the minute you say that, they start dying technically. Like they're, as a chemical reaction in the body, a nocebo effect, where they start to deteriorate, and it's because they have those negative toxic thoughts. But people have those every day, like you just said.
But it's true. That's true of everyone's success and everything. The difference. If you look at, I think sports is often a good analogy for life.
Yes.
And sometimes the difference between like the best player on the team and the second best player on the team literally is purely their mindset. They have the exact same skill level, same athleticism, same experience. It's just one, has the mindset of refusing to lose or, not being fearful.
Absolutely.
Just living in pure, in the moment.
And that's like that 1 or 2%. Like in 98, I was talking to my staff about this. We had a staff training day, and I was trying to explain to them that everyone does 98% of their job. Right. Like everyone in the world. Like if you work at Burger King, if you are a breath coach, if you're a plastic surgeon, if you are a internal medicine doctor, all of us do 98%, right? The difference between the 98, if you don't do 98% of your job, you're going to get fired. Like, you're going to have no clients. So everyone does that. The difference is the 2% extra amount of work, that mindset that you put in, the amount of OCD or the compulsion that you have, that little 2%, that's where you get excellence. That's where you get greatness.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. It's not like the other basketball players did not work just as hard as LeBron James did in the gym this year. There's probably guys who put more work in the gym than he did this year, and yet they still won. The Lakers still won. It's because of that extra 2%. That's what it comes down to.
He's a perfect example of someone who spends time on their mindset. He has same thing. I don't know if you've ever heard Russell Wilson, who's a Seattle quarterback. He talks a lot about how much time he spends on mindset with kind of setting his goals, visualizing, and that's become such an important part of his training.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's, and a lot of, I think your guy, Tony Robbins, talks about that too. I love
Tony Robbins, yeah. And Tony Robbins is obviously, the master of mindset coaching. Like his whole thing is based on coaching, right? It's like peak performance coaching, because a lot of times in life, if you're on a sports team, for example, you have a coach. Otherwise, no one else in life has a coach. And it's like, we're all playing the same sport of life, and yet you have no one guiding you. And it's not about a coach being like more successful than you in your field. That's different. That's called a mentor. Yeah, but a coach is someone who's able to look at things from the outside perspective and just help rebalance your way of thinking. How are you assessing your thoughts properly?
Right. Exactly. It makes a whirlwind of a difference. It really does.
And with your clients, the breathing is usually the introduction for your patterns?
Right now it is.
Okay.
Yeah. And you're going to take that makes sense, because I think people have a hard time changing their mindset without some base to
physical.
Be a fulcrum for the change.
Yeah. And in breathing, what a great fulcrum is breathing, because everyone does it thousands of times a day, and you just have to learn how to do it better. And you're going to take us through some Buteyko exercises today and teach us some basics, so people listening can do it with us. We can all do it together and understand, because I think a lot of us don't realize how important breath is.
I want to try breathing through my nose. Let's try it. Should we try it?
All right. So teach us. Okay. Take us through this.
First, you just become aware of your breathing, and you breathing through your nose, your mouth. You're breathing from your chest, from your stomach. Okay. So just breathe through your nose, mouth closed. And notice the slightly colder air coming into your nose and the slightly warmer air leaving your nose. Just pay attention to your breathing. Feel the slightly colder air entering your nose, slightly warmer air leaving your nose. I'd like you to place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. Feel your breathing. I'd like you to really concentrate on your breathing and use this as a measure of your concentration. For how long can you hold your attention to your breathing before the mind wanders? If the mind is wandering a lot, you'll get even more from this exercise. So keep bringing your attention back to your breathing. Feel the slightly colder air entering your nostrils and the slightly warmer air leaving your nostrils. I would like you to begin to slow down the speed of air entering your nostrils. Breathe so soft that the fine hairs within the nose do not move. Breathe so gentle that you hardly feel any air entering your nose. Take a slow, light breath in through your nose, and as you breathe out, bring a feeling of relaxation throughout your body. I would like you to really concentrate on slowing down your breathing so that you're taking less air into your body. Don't hold your breath or interfere with your breathing muscles. Instead, soften your breathing so the amount of air you're taking to your body is less than what it was before you started. The goal is to create a feeling that you would like to take in more air, to feel an air hunger. To create air hunger, your breathing now should be less than what it was before you started. I need you to feel a want for air, a feeling that you would like to take in a deeper breath. Continue to soften your breath to the point of air hunger. Breathing in slowly through your nose. Breathing in so soft that the fine hairs within the nose do not move. Breathing so gentle that you hardly feel any air entering your nose. Concentrating on slowing down your breathing to the point of air hunger. So it was a simple, reduced light breathing exercise just to
Wow.
slow down
So you
breathing.
feel relaxed, don't you?
Way more relaxed than 4 minutes ago. That's crazy because when you first started it, you definitely felt the amount of air going in and out and the velocity of the air.
Right.
And then as you got us to slow it down, you noticed that you can breathe without feeling the air, which means we're breathing too fast potentially.
It is. You need a lot less air than you actually
So
think
now
you do.
I get why it raises
Wow.
your CO2 because you're literally breathing less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of the opposite of the breath work that I've been taught how to do, but that was great. I feel very relaxed.
Yeah, me too. I kind of felt like for a couple seconds, like almost like, not like I was suffocating, but like I kind of needed to take a breath. I almost wanted to cheat and breathe out of my mouth, but I just didn't want to do it because there was a camera on me.
Well, you were the thing is, I don't know if this, obviously I don't know anything about this type of breath work, but the fact that you were concentrating on your breath and how much you were taking or not taking in or whatever, it means you were not thinking about
Anything else?
work.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
And you know,
Key point. Very
see what
good
I mean?
point, Jeff.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Breathwork is a great way to get into meditation just
Yeah.
by focusing on the breath. It
Yeah.
just puts you in the zone.
Yeah, you're so right because you're so detail focused on the breath. The way, especially the way. I mean, what you just did was amazing because you keep us so engaged, and that was so good because you're right. You're not thinking about anything.
Yeah.
I literally am focused on those little hairs on my nose and whether they're moving or not.
do you trim your hairs?
I trim my nose hairs. Yeah. I trim other people's nose hairs for a living.
you?
For a living. I mean, before
You've never
surgery.
trimmed my nose hairs.
Not yours, but for surgery,
That's
you
true,
don't need
probably.
a nose job.
That's true.
Yeah, before surgery, everyone.
But
gets a
anyway,
little
that was
trim.
fantastic. I feel great.
And a good way to measure if your breathing is getting better or not is something called the control pause, which is something that Dr. Konstantin Buteyko developed. He's the
namesake, I
Konstantin
assume.
The namesake,
Buteyko.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the control pause, to measure how well you're breathing, you take a gentle breath in through your nose, out your nose. At the end of the exhale, pinch it, hold, and time it for as long as you can till you feel that first definite desire to breathe through your nose again, and that's your CP number. So if you have a timer out, you want to measure it?
It
I got a stopwatch
All right,
for us. All right, so what are we doing? So tell me again. So we're going to
Okay.
breathe in our noses. So everyone right now listening, grab your phone, turn your stopwatch on. Let's all do it together. All right, and we're going to do what now?
Okay, so I'll measure. Do you have one now?
Oh, I'll type it for us because I
Okay.
can do lap.
Great. So take a gentle breath in through your nose and out your nose. At the end of the exhale, pinch and hold and time it for as long as you can till you feel that first definite desire to breathe through your nose again. And that could be the first muscle contraction.
Wow.
I lost.
No, you definitely won.
I did.
That was good, yeah. This is Jeff was 23 seconds, which is really good.
Is that good?
That's really good. Mine was
You didn't used to, when you were a kid,
14.
try to so you could go underwater the longest?
No, I did, but I wasn't trying to hold my breath. She told me don't hold it. She said just until you feel a little bit, right?
Exactly.
I could
Yeah.
hold it longer,
Yeah.
but I was trying not to like hold the breath.
Gotcha.
Right,
Were
exactly.
you holding your breath?
I don't know. I didn't feel stressed.
Okay, so then you're probably fine, yeah.
Yeah, so anything under below 25 seconds is considered dysfunctional breathing patterns.
Wow, I'm dysfunctional.
So you notice by even doing
There
a
you
couple
go.
of the breathing exercises, your CP number will go up. So the more you do it,
Wow.
it'll
Maybe
increase.
it's because I do breath work.
It's probably because you do breath work. So 25 seconds is considered
Under, yeah.
Under 25 is considered dysfunctional breathing. It means that you have too much of a need for breath.
Yeah,
Like you're breathing too much.
it could be
Just too anxious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
anxious,
too anxious, yeah.
most likely.
Yeah. Wow, this is so cool. This is really interesting because we literally take this for granted, breathing. We literally don't even think about
Yeah.
it. Like on a daily basis, who the hell thinks about their breathing and how much breath they're taking in? Like we're worried about work and stress and life and relationships and
See,
happiness.
that's what I've been telling you.
But we don't realize it all comes to the breath. You know, that's the yoga philosophy. The Indian yoga philosophy
Yeah.
is life is breath.
It is.
And that's what we talk to our patients about with nasal breathing. But putting it and pairing it with the actual breath work is so empowering because it makes you realize.
Yeah, and even by doing that simple shift of just breathing through your nose and being aware of it, then you'll notice your thoughts begin to calm down. Even if you're not taking the time out to do breathing exercises during the day, just by slowing down the breathing through the nose, everything else seems to settle a bit. And then you see your mindset shifts as well.
And I think these things are really so powerful. And, you know, it's sad because like in Western medicine, I'll see a patient that, you know, we'll see a doctor and the first thing, if someone's stressed, the first thing the doctor does is either
pills,
give them Xanax or give them Zoloft or whatever.
Right, immediate pills.
Instead of saying, hey, have you ever tried, you know, and I think some doctors are lazy about their advice with, hey, you should try meditation, Bob, with like no specifics and nothing's going to happen.
Right.
But to actually say, let me refer you to someone you can Zoom with who's going to, you know, help with this.
This is fantastic. I mean, I can't even imagine the Zooming.
I think this year, you know, a lot of, you know, I have different people who help people with mindset, wellness, all these types of things. And they're all like busier than ever because of how difficult this year is.
Yeah. Well, I'm 100% convinced I'm going to sign up for your thing.
So excited. November 2nd.
November 2nd it starts.
Yes.
And I'll be in the first class. What's it called? Phase
Level 1.
Level 1.
How do people find you? So how, like, do you have a website or on Instagram, or what's the best way to find you?
Yeah. My website is called breathewithmaria.com.
Breathewithmaria, MARIA.com. Breathe. BREATHE.
Yes.
With Maria. Okay, great.
Unfortunately, when the episode comes out, it's going to be too late to sign up for this month. You're going to have to sign up for
next month. December.
December.
It's December. I have to look.
December's an important month to get your breath work.
You can still sign up on November 2nd?
You can still, you can sign up on the day.
Because you're listening on November 3rd already. Yeah. Right now it's election day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's election day.
Okay,
they can register for December, but yeah. Or you can find me on my Instagram, Maria Shapester.
Maria Shapester. SHAPESTER. Shapester.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming.
This is amazing. Yeah, I feel better already. This is really great and really empowering.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, our pleasure. All right. Thank you guys so much. I mean, I feel so much better.
I just fell asleep.
Yeah. It's funny. Like you were saying, I forgot we were filming a podcast for a few minutes.
Yeah, it's incredible. I really want you to try it.
Yeah.
Whether it's this type of breath work or something or some kind of meditation, I think you got to try something.
Yeah.
Just to give it a run.
Yeah, no, I agree. You got me hooked now because I'm kind of an aggressive personality. So I kind of like her approach, Maria's approach it's very gentle. I kind of need that little bit of that gentleness in me, I think. So I am going to try it.
I think you're cuddly.
I can be cuddly, but it has to be turned on.
Yeah.
Naturally, my natural go-to is go like yourself. So breathewithmaria.com.
Yeah.
I'm signing up. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a month.
Wow.
I'm going to see if my family wants to do it with me.
You're going to be so relaxed.
This is cool. Yeah, do it by Zoom with her.
You're going to be so relaxed.
Oh, man. You're going to see the next few episodes. I'm just going to be chill, easy breezy. Maybe asleep.
I'm waiting. Pooja is going to send me a gift in the mail. So relaxed.
This is funny because episode 1 or 2, you talked to me about this. Yeah. And finally, episode 20, we're doing it. So thank you for bringing her on. Thank you, Maria, for coming. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys actually practiced and tried it. And if not, bookmark this episode and listen to it
now and you didn't really do it, if you just kind of fast forwarded through it, later time when you have a moment.
Yes, bookmark favorite this one.
Go back. Take that moment and listen to it and see how you feel.
Yeah, guided meditation. That was beautiful. Thank you guys for listening to episode 20. Come back next week because we are post-election and we will be here for our 21st episode.
Taking shots.
Taking healthy shots. Kombucha all around. Maybe some kombucha, maybe something else. We'll talk about
shots.
it. Ooh, okay, done. So you bring that. I'm going to bring some kombucha. All right, see you guys next episode.